Your Excellency, Ministers, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. After a wonderful opening ceremony, now we move to the plenary session 1.
After the opening session, we are gathered here as the first plenary of technical sessions which we start today. And in this session, my main aim is to walk you through how we have organized the whole forum and where you will find what kind of discussions taking place. It's very brief, but if you like to have more details, of course the program will be able to really guide you much better. We all are aware that our food requirements are increasing, and they are going to increase so much so that by 2050 we will have to double our food production. Now, we also know that we have a burgeoning population, where, of course, by design, we are trying to improve their living conditions. As such, we are also trying to bring better nutrition. And that means we need more food production and, of course, the delivery of that food to the people.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before starting, I'd just like to acknowledge the work of my colleagues at International Water Management Institute who've been behind much of the research work that I'll quickly explain here. And there is, I think, a full paper which has the details which should be on the memory stick. So I think the title of the conference is very interesting. It's talking about challenges and opportunities for global security and irrigation in a changing world. And so the title of my presentation is around game changers in that. So particularly around incentives. What sort of incentives are needed to make those, to realize those opportunities and to meet those challenges? So Avinash has already indicated some of the challenges that we're facing, but I think what I'm trying to say here is that we're not trying to meet the future global demand with a situation of minimum impact like we've been doing in the past. We've already started to hit a number of major challenges for the natural ecosystems in which we live. So the challenge now is double. The question now is, how do we do this and at the same time reverse some of that degradation that's already taken place? Too long.
My name is Abdel, chairman of Russia European Board, and usually the speaker come individual, but we as a farmer cannot be individuals. We also come together, collaborate together, work together and eat together. So we shall speak together in this conference. Did I see any farmers here? No farmers? As Herodotus said, Egypt is the gift of the Nile. So all the farmers in Egypt mainly depends on the river Nile. So river Nile in Egypt has a great importance for us. About 1/3 of Egyptians work in the farming or related farming. So farming and land is for Egyptians as an honor. I come here, in fact, to speak about the cooperation between engineers and farmers. I will use an engineer to present any official or government peoples. I hope in Egypt and all the world as well, that the engineer doesn't think that he works for us. We are going to do that in our area as an organization to start to manage the water with the ministry, to get the water in enough quantity and in the right time. If we got the water in right time and a good quantity, I think the farmer will produce a good food, and that may solve the problem of food security. I will let.
My name is Zahida Detho, and I'm from Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. It is a pleasure for me to be here with you all people and present my views on behalf of small and tail-enders farmers of Pakistan. Basically, I am farmer from Mirpur Khas district of Sindh province of Pakistan, where I have a 20 acres piece of land, and we cultivate it through irrigation canals. We have produced cotton, wheat, sugarcane, rice, fruits and vegetables. Mangoes, cotton and red chilies are the major crops of my district. Dear friends, my native area lies in the most tail end of the Pakistan's irrigation network and facing acute shortage of irrigation water, and water is polluted too.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Michelle Giraud, the Secretary of WMO and the current Chair of UN Water, I'd like to thank ICID for the opportunity to present at this meeting. That's my formal statement over. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly in the interest of time, but I thought that the previous presentation was so passionate and thoughtful that you're probably better off spent listening to that than a lot of the things that I have to tell you anyway. I'd like to congratulate ICID and the government of Turkey for their efforts to hold this forum in the International Year of Water Cooperation. I think it's a very valuable contribution to that activity. My focus following Avinash's opening presentation is to talk a little bit about climate change and climate and weather extremes, but I'll cut back on that. I have another couple of opportunities during the next couple of days to talk a little bit about climate extremes, and I'll use those rather than taking up time here. Just with my first slide, this shows the temperature averages for decades since the 1880s and shows the increasing average temperatures globally through that period. To add to this, 2012 ranked among the 10 warmest years on record, and also in 2012 the Arctic sea ice continued to decline and reached its record lowest extent. Extremes have continued to occur during this period, and we all have heard of severe weather, both climate events in terms of droughts, but also heat waves and cold snaps in many parts of the world, and also events such as Hurricane Sandy. And these all have obviously a major impact on the economy, but also a major impact on the agricultural sector. The IPCC AR5 report will be coming out very soon. There was a meeting in Stockholm last week to finalise it, and I think you'll see that it comes up with increased certainty about climate change, but still the uncertainty with respect to specific futures, particularly at regional sorts of levels. There will be much debate in the coming months about what appears to be a levelling off of climate change, and I think while climate change and the awareness raising of it has a lot to owe Al Gore and his wonderful hockey stick and climbing up his ladder to show where temperatures were heading, we have always known that there was going to be variability about the trend, and I think it's important to consider that as we go forward. I'll skip through the next couple of slides, but really the idea of them was just to point out that through things like awareness raising, early warning systems, making use of the information that we have available, we can, in this case, reduce the loss of lives due to extreme hydrological and meteorological events. But we do notice that the damage in infrastructure and property damage associated with them is actually increasing. So there's more property, more people at risk, but while we're being able to achieve reduction in loss of life, we still haven't done a lot with respect to infrastructure, so better planning is required from that point of view.
Şimdi, now my subject is let's use the benefit of being together. So now here we have a very nice audience which are consisting of different disciplines. We have politicians, we have MPs, we have governmental authorities, we have engineers, contractors, suppliers, farmers, hopefully, and therefore we have to take the benefit of it. When we look, always there is a demand for water, food and energy, but the funny thing about this thing is that for food we need water, for energy we need water, for development we need water, where the Southeast Anatolia project is a very good sample of this development. A good cooperation among these parties are very important in order to establish this. Usually every week I am visiting TSI, so during one of my visits 2 weeks ago, when I was entering to the building, I have seen this poster on the billboard, which says, water can only be saved when it exists. So actually, this is really a very meaningful poster. So last week I want to take its photograph, but unfortunately it was not there because it is already replaced by the ICID forum poster. So I went to the press department of TSI and they were able to give me, which I am very thankful. So from this also you can see that water has economical, social, political and cultural issues which have to be all combined together. Optimization of the use of water by combining multiple purposes has to be considered. And irrigation for food production has great importance. So we have to look for the future what we are wanting, what is our aim. Since arable land area is limited, the additional production will require efficient use of existing irrigation facilities as well as very efficient design of the future ones. Irrigation water may create some adverse impact to the nature and soil. Therefore, also necessary precautions has to be considered very truly. Some countries have excess of water, which really they don't care about it, and unfortunately they don't have a proper management, whereas some other countries do not have enough water. Actually, if you go through the world, in each country and in each region, the water-related problems are completely different from one to the other. On one hand, some countries are consuming excessive food per person and sometimes wasting it, and maybe they have also some health problems. On the other side, unfortunately, on some parts of the world, some people are starved to death because of not having sufficient food or not food at all. For everybody should feel itself to give their opinions, remarks, so that the benefits at the end will be for the benefit of everybody. I am confident that it will be a success, so that's all from my point of view. Thank you very much.
Evet, çok teşekkür ediyorum. Herkesi saygıyla tekrar selamlıyorum. Efendim, evvela hakikaten çok faydalı sunumlar oldu. Herkese teşekkür ediyorum. Ancak özellikle Wahab, Sayın Abdel Hassan Beyefendi ve Zeliha hanımefendinin konuşmalarında bir hususu hatırladım. Hakikaten bu gibi toplantılarda su kullanıcıları, yani çiftçileri de davet etmekte büyük fayda var. Çünkü o kullanan onlar, yani tecrübeleri var. Ben burada bir hatıramı anlatmak istiyorum. Müsaadenizle, önemli olduğu için onlardan ilham alarak hatırladım. Yıl 2003, ben Mart ayında, 2003 yılı Mart ayında DSİ Genel Müdürlüğü'ne geldim. İstanbul Su Kanalizasyon İdaresi Genel Müdürlüğü'nden sonra Devlet Su İşleri Genel Müdürü oldum. O sırada arkadaşlara sordum, ya niye Klasik dediğimiz böyle açık kanal sistemleri kullanıyorsunuz diye. Onlar da bana bir hesap getirdi. 1 metre kanalla 1 metre borunun hesabını getirdi. Efendim kanal çok ucuz olduğu için biz bunu yapıyoruz diye söyledi. Halbuki diğer faktörler, su kaybı vesaire, kanal tabii belli bir tesviye eğrilerini takip etmek durumda kalıyor. Onları dikkate almamıştı. Ben baktım olmayacak. Birinci sulama konferansını topladım. 2003 yılında ama çiftçileri de çağırdım. Sulama birliklerini çağırdım. Konferansta onlara şunu sordum. Siz dedim hangi tip sulama sistemini talep ediyorsunuz? Kalktılar dediler ki şimdiye kadar bize hiç kimse böyle bir sual sormadı. Biz tamamen borulu, kapalı sistem yani yağmurlama veya damlama sulama yapabileceğimiz sistemi istiyoruz. Ama DS'yi biz proje yaparız, size teslim ederiz, canınız isterse kullanın şeklinde böyle bir söz ifade bulunuyor deyince gerçekten çok duygulandım. Ondan sonra talimat verdim. Bundan sonra açık iptidai sulama sistemlerini terk ediyoruz. Tamamen kapalı sisteme geçiyoruz diye. Yani buna çiftçiler vesile oldu. Yani bu bakımdan Zahide Hanım'a ve Abdel Wahab Hassan Beyefendi'ye teşekkür ediyorum bunu hatırlattıkları için.